Greetings, brothers and sisters. I got a bunch of stuff to get to. The reemergence of Chris Cuomo's, and that's going to be hilarious because he's always funny. He's back. You know, we miss Chris Cuomo's. Not in the basement, but we don't know where he is. So we'll get into that in a moment. Alec Baldwin with another message. Britney dancing. Bunch of fun things to get to. But let's start here. I said this for the past, I don't know, whatever. I made the first video 3 or 4 days ago about this. How the Georgia Guidestones became a magnet for conspiracy theorists. The granite monument was an offbeat tourist attraction billed by the state official as America's Stonehenge and a pet cause for conspiracy theorists who saw it as a malignant force. So it says state official billed it as America's Stonehenge. Let's go to this here first. This is
Georgia monument that some refer to as America's Stonehenge was destroyed yesterday in a pre-dawn bombing.
So remember, she said here, Georgia monument destroyed. Georgia monument.
A surveillance camera captured the explosion. Look at this early yesterday morning, and moments later, a car can be seen leaving the scene. Police are still searching for the person responsible for the blast. The granite Guidestones sit near the town of Elberton. That's about 2 hours east of Atlanta. The tourist site draws more than 20,000 visitors each year.
Okay, so 20,000 people every year. Right? And let's get into it. In the early 2005, a conspiracy theorist writing under the pseudonym of John Connor, the name of the resistance leader from the Terminator movies, decided he needed to warn the public about the evils of a roadside tourist attraction in northeastern Georgia. The Guidestones would be smashed into 1 million pieces and the rubble used for a construction project, Connor wrote. The Guidestones have a deep satanic origin and message. He was referring to the Georgia Guidestones, a 19-foot-tall, 4-slab granite monument bearing a cryptic 10-part message in 12 languages. Nobody knows precisely who constructed the monument, but it stood there for more than 4 decades. 17 years later, Connor, better known today as right-wing provocateur and pro-Trump YouTube personality Mark Dice, got part of his wish. Now, this was known for, years before this, but whatever, right? They're attributing him because of, the shillish nature. And it says here, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has destroyed, detonated the explosives. In recent years, the Guidestones became a recurring symbol in QAnon conspiracy movement and a subject of videos and other digital content that baselessly link them to the COVID pandemic and a fictional cabal of sex traffickers. Alex Jones, of course, they got everybody here, right? They got all the players. But I want to go back to this phrase right here and then get into what I was saying earlier. This is just another confirmation. Nobody knows precisely who constructed the monument, but it stood there for more than 4 decades. They're saying here that it is state officials called it America's Stonehenge, right? In June of 1979, a man using the pseudonym Robert C. Christian approached the Elberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans and commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones would function as a compass and calendar and clock and should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events. It couldn't deal with Eb-80s or lightning. Christian delivered a small-scale model of the Guidestone and 10 pages of specifications. The 5-acre, 2-hectare site was purchased by Christian from a local farm owner. The owner and his children were given lifetime cattle grazing rights at the Guidestone site. But in multiple places, it sounds like it's owned by the state. The way that's referred to in articles, and, it was, I guess, they're saying that it was privately owned land by some anonymous, mysterious man and his fellow patriots who built this thing, right? But in any case, this idea of it being America's Stonehenge really never picked up, right? They say there's 20,000 visitors a year. I would like to know how they got those numbers, because the only people who really talk about this is truthers, right? Maybe local people driving by, whatever, But in terms of people who are passionate about it, it's truthers. That's why they made this article here. Because truthers, and as they call them, conspiracy theorists, have been kind of obsessed with this thing, and many of you have visited it or wanted to visit it. But most people don't know what it is or care about it. And they certainly don't have any passion for it. Americans aren't big into authority. They're not big into being told what to do and, all these types of things, right? I mean, Americans are, something like this that has a bunch of, basically 10 commandments, they're not interested in, and it doesn't hold any weight, right? And so, and whoever destroyed it, I feel like they were built to be destroyed, right? There might be some Freemasonic thing involved, but it's almost like a non-story. Again, the only people who are really interested in it are so-called truthers or conspiracy theorists. See, for them to say 20,000 people are going to see this a year, how do they hear about it, right? It might be on a few pamphlets. If you go to Washington, D.C., you see the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, which are far more impressive, and they're not that great, right? People who are history buffs, or you go with your school or whatever it is, but it's not like, oh, wow, that was spectacular. It's not like you're going to the Grand Canyon or something. And you go to any town, like you go to any city, and there's going to be some statues and some monuments, and, there's going to be some spray paint. It's no big deal. Like, very few things are impressive in terms of monuments, and nobody really cares about it. And something like this, right, it's some, there's a local granite company and some anonymous person, according to the official story, printed out some life lessons, and the big one is that there's only supposed to be 500 million people, which means population reduction, for anybody who's taking these things seriously or having the idea that power is behind these things. And that's where the truth community has flipped out, mostly about the reduction of 7.5 billion people, right? Like, that's what the monument implies. And so that's where the truth community has flipped out. And the truth community does the most publicity for this monument. And so I know a number of truthers have left comments that they've gone there. That's who I know goes there, because they're the ones who hear about it. Those are the ones that are passionate about it, right? Because monuments, why would you go to this thing? It's not impressive. It's not like it's somewhere cool, right? It's, out in the country on someone's private farm. You drop off, stop off and to look at it, right? It's not even like there's a bathroom there. It's not even like a rest stop, right? And so there's nothing, there's nothing to it. And like I said before, it's like it's been built to be destroyed. It's been built to, create some sort of controversy and trigger people in the truth community. It's 100% truther motivated. It's motivated by the truther community. But anyways, okay, so let's go to shirtless Chris Cuomo flexes muscles, teases some things coming. There he is. Let's go to his Instagram here. Something coming. Summer of 2022. Boom. And it smells bad. Something wicked this way comes. Boom. Look at him flexing his muscles. He's been working out. He's been working on his reporter muscles. And he's screaming. There he is. Yeah. He's mad as hell, and he's coming back. He's older. He's almost bald. His brother and him have been disgraced for a while. He's coming back, flexing muscles. He's ready for his new big adventure. And so there he is. Like, he's such a douche. Enjoy the weekend. On Monday, I'll show you what you're not seeing from the Ukraine. Free agents need to know. Boom. Bring in the truther news. Also, if you're the first to guess what make and model this car is by DM, I'll send you a free agent shirt. So we have something called free agent. Free agent, brother. And here it is. Like, this is going to be Chris Cuomo. Free agent. Something's coming. Something wicked this way comes. Free agent with Chris Cuomo. He's got merch already. He's got a free agent t-shirt right there. He'll give you one if you guess what make and model his car is. This is the guy here. That's his it's his Scream. This is his car. You got to guess what it is just from this picture. Make and model. You get one of those free agent T-shirts. Like he's creating his own little QB thing. Remember the QBs with their little Dakota rings? There, he's looking sad. There's his home after, he got fired from CNN. There's someone threw crap all over his house. All these people came in. All this stuff, right? Oh, this is from the Ukraine. All right, that was. And here he goes, walking into vacation like, I'll be back on Monday, 12/29, my friends. Let's get after it. And I mean it. I mean Thanksgiving. And so that's when he still had a job at CNN probably. And so this is some of his CNN stuff. But let's go back to Chris Cuomo's most brilliant, iconic moment. Okay, so here he is. Remember this? This is when he was in his heyday. His brother was a hero. They were talking about his brother being president, and he was in the basement. And man, was he good in the basement. He was a basement dweller. Like, he should have stayed in his basement. That's when he was at his best. But he emerges from the basement.
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement. Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out. Happens.
Okay, so, I don't know. This is a big moment. You could have showered, right? I'm a little sweaty. I just worked out. It happens. I'm coming up out of the basement all sweaty.
This is what I've been dreaming of. Literally for weeks.
Yeah, we knew that you were not in the basement all the time, right? Because you and your family were caught by what you called a fat tire biker who you threatened, right? And he videoed you. And you were caught out with your family during when you're supposed to be quarantined. You were in, there's other people there also. And so that was it. There was a number of times Chris Cuomo was caught out of his basement, right? And so this is fake as F. But this part isn't fake.
My wife, yeah.
And she's like, don't mount me. she's been getting a break from this sweaty monster. So this is his reception, right? His daughter's like, oh, whatever.
She was cleared by the CDC. She doesn't have fever. She doesn't have the symptoms anymore. More than 7 days from her quarantine. We're still a little scared, so I'll just give you one of these.
They're not touching because he's still...
Just give you one of these. Just give you one of these.
He's like, whatever. He doesn't even...
Just give you one of these. Bella has, of course, taken the video. This is the dream. Just to be back up here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a dream for your family.
Doing normal
They're like, who is this guy?
things. Thank you for being so nice to me. Thank you for taking care of everything you had to. Thank you for taking care of me. And Bella, thank you for stepping up.
Stepping up. She stepped up.
And now adding family videographer to your resume.
Yes, President.
She's rolling her eyes. Wow. It's not for me. Thank you.
She was bringing flowers. He goes, that's not for me.
It's not for me.
Boom. Put your mask on, M&F'er.
Thank you. This is for when we go outside. That's what we have to do now, all of us in New York. So anyway, I'm back. Let's get after it.
Let's get it. Let's get after it. And then he was just, after that, it was all downhill for him. Like, he just fell apart. Chris Cuomo. He almost died from COVID, but he came back. He had mental issues. He was in his basement. He was rocking and rolling. People were tuning in. And now he's a free agent. He's got his own free agent, whatever that is, and you get a free agent T-shirt. Now, I always associate these two mega men. This is Alec P. Baldwin. There he is. Look at him. He just looks rougher and rougher. Like, what's going on there, bro? Like, I don't really approve of plastic surgery, but damn. What's happening there, buddy? He's got something to say.
Hey, I just want to send out a quick message about Jimmy Caan.
Jimmy Caan, known as James Caan, known as James Caan to most people, but Jimmy Caan to this epic actor.
It was, believe it or not, for a guy that was one of the great movie tough guys, he was a real sweetheart.
He was a big tough guy in the movies, but he's a real sweetheart in real life.
He's a sweetheart. My thoughts go out to Scott.
Scott's his son, who's famous too. He's dropping all the names.
His whole family, everybody in Jimmy's life. Mike Kajansky.
Mike.
His assistant who, you wanted to find out anything about Jimmy, you call Mike. Great guy. Back in 2004, when I was commuting from New York to LA to see my daughter Ireland, I was divorced and my daughter was living in LA and I lived in New York.
Yeah, I remember you called her a pig. Like, I think did you call her a pig? Is that the girl?
And I was going back and forth all the time. And I did a whole batch of like weird jobs, like go out there, get a job, work for a couple days or a couple weeks and come home. And I went from, making a lot of movies in the 90s to 2000 comes and I'm doing this weird kind of patchwork of jobs.
Patchwork. How's the work going now? Post cinematographer shooting. How's that going? What jobs do you have now? Like I heard you got like a podcast, right?
And I wound up doing the show Las Vegas with Jimmy. That show with Josh Duhamel and Molly and that whole cast. And I do Las Vegas, and we're there day one.
See, this is where it stops being about Jimmy Caan and becomes about Alec, right? So we're a minute 22 seconds in this, and it's about Alec and his experiences, his heyday of 90s movies, and then his patchwork in the 2000s, and then his Jimmy Caan stories.
Jimmy's character is going to knock on the door. We have an argument. And the director and the showrunner, all the creatives there, say to me, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, if I may say so, it seems a little dry." I said, "We need to kind of jumpstart."
Exactly. They always asked Alec, and he delivered. And, he's shooting when he's shooting.
Right to what's going on, and we got to get right to it. And they go, "What do you mean?" I go, "I think I should open the door," and he punches me right in the face.
Boom. I like that one.
I think I open the door and he just busts me right in the face. We know exactly where we're at. And the writer and the director, they're like, and of course they turn to Jimmy. He's the sort of, they're like, "Jimmy." And Caan says, "I like it. Yeah, it's good. It's good." Just boom.
Another great story about Alec, how Alec saved the day. This is when he was getting punched in the chops and he wasn't shooting coworkers.
Because I don't have any vanity on these things. I'm a guest in somebody else's house. I'm there to, do the part. I'm like, you beat the crap out of me in a TV show. Who cares? But
yeah, who cares? It's your idea.
So we do that, and Jimmy was sweet. He was so nice to me, and always kidding you, and always busting your balls. And you look at a guy like him. I mean, not a lot of the other big stars I've met in my life. Some of them have been lovely. Some of them have been really, really, gracious. Really, really gracious. And they don't.
And then there's guys like you.
Have to be. And but Jimmy was really sweet. We stayed in touch. I come to town. Matt Del Piano, who was my agent for many, many years. We go to dinner with Jimmy. We go visit Jimmy at his house a couple times. Then he did my podcast. I asked him to do my podcast, and he made
That must be epic. I gotta go find that. You and your podcast.
a comment at the end of the podcast, which I don't have word for word at the tip of my tongue. My research department here is not doing
Point to your bean. Point to your bean.
word at the tip of my tongue. My
Boom, boom. Yeah, point to it right here. This is where it is. This is where all the magic happens. These are where all the great stories and anecdotes and.
research department here is not doing so well these days, but he said something like, about the time I came into the business, when I was in the business, he said it'll never be as good as this again. It'll never be. He said, this is it. This is the best it's ever going to be for people in terms of the scripts and the actors and the directors and the designers and the level of artistry.
The level of artistry. This is as good as it's going to get, especially for you, Alec. You're going to go on hard times. Podcast is all you're going to be able to do.
In the film business, he said it's never going to be this good again. The time he was there, coming in the 50s, and coming in the 50s and making all those great films. I love Jimmy and Thief. I love Jimmy and Misery.
He's good in all those movies. Elf. He was great in Elf.
Jimmy made a lot of good films.
Didn't he win an Academy Award for Elf?
Made a lot of The Gambler. Jimmy made a lot of good films. Even when Jimmy was not on his best behavior, he was always compelling. You know, Gardens of Stone. Great movie star. Great movie star. And of course, you know, The Godfather, which...
Of course, yeah. We don't even have to say The Godfather.
You know, and what's interesting about The Godfather is the acting is, of course, at the highest level, and all these great movie stars are birthed from that film. Duvall.
There's gonna be he's going Magoo himself here. He's going full Magoo. He's gonna show up one day when I will be able to see his eyes.
And Diane Keaton. I mean, they've done other films, but Diane Keaton, Pacino, De Niro in the sequel. This is one of their great stops along the way. But The Godfather's a film you can turn the sound off. Turn the sound off and watch The Godfather.
Why would you ever do that? You know what? We should turn the picture off and just listen to it like it's a radio. You know, just that's how good it is.
Because more than any other color film, it's like a painting that all of a sudden starts to move.
It's a painting. It's like watching a painting.
Not a moving picture, it's a moving painting. The tones, the sets, the costumes, all of it. The Godfather is the richest film I've ever seen, a color film. I mean, I've seen some black and white films.
How much of this talk is actually about Jimmy Caan?
They were also really, really beautifully etched, if you will. Anyway, Jimmy Caan, you know, I'm going to save this story. I don't want to screw it up, but, you know, I thought I knew how to swear. Being from the South Shore of Long Island, I thought I knew how to swear.
He's a good swear.
But Jimmy Caan.
Oh, whoa, that guy. Whoa.
I'm sorry. Jimmy Caan, he taught me how to swear.
He taught me how to swear.
Really, there's an inflection, there's an emphasis. And anyway, he was a sweetie. He was a sweet guy. He was such a...
Sweet guy when he wasn't swearing. We didn't have potty mouth.
Very kind to me. And I loved him. He was a good guy. My heart goes out to Scott and everybody else in the Caan family, Scott's, Jimmy's family. And you know, it's just amazing. It's amazing. He lived an interesting life, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
He still lived to be 82. And his assistant, Mike Kajansky, a shout out to Mike.
Mike Kajansky. Hey, Kajansky.
You know?
Hey, Kajansky, let me teach you how to swear.
Everybody says, you know, that Mike Kajansky, his assistant, was one of a handful of people who kept Jimmy alive the last 5 years because Jimmy's health was not great. And Mike was the man to see if you wanted to connect with Jimmy.
Exactly.
You called Mike if you wanted to talk to Jimmy.
You had to talk to Mike, and then you got to Jimmy.
Great guy.
He's a great guy, that Mike.
Anyway, my love to Scott, my love to their family, my sympathy, and my love to the great, great James Caan. I love you, Jimmy.
Love you, Jimmy. Love ya. All right, so that's Alec. Okay, so here's one, Britney J. Spears. And here she is doing a dance. Okay, let's make this bigger here. Okay, starts here. Itsy bitsy spider goes up the water spout. Down comes the rain. And spins the dope around. Up comes the sun. And spins the dope again. The itsy bitsy spider, I stepped on him with my big old feet. One foot, 2 feet, double hands, double wag, boom, boom, bobby, boom. There we go. Play the flute. Oh, do that. Go up around, spin my arms, spin my legs, spin my arms. My legs are so small. My arms are so big. Here we go. Flip my hair. Woo! Peace sign for you. Peace. Bend over. Stand up. Point to the sky. Show you a quarter for some reason. Hit your noggin. Show you another quarter. Same one. And then do that. And then slap your bottom. And then do that like you're waiting tables. And then spin it. Flip it up in the air. Catch it. Put it down. And then look. And it says heads. Heads it is. Tails we lose. There we go. All right, that part's over. I spin around again. I'm spinning. I'm spinning. I'm spinning. I'm whipping my hair around. I just slashed my own throat. I'm doing that. This is my funny walk, my penguin walk. I'm going to run back to you, point to you. Yeah, there we go. Spinning around. And it's spin, 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 spin. When in doubt, spin like the wind. And there we go. Hey, smile. I'm going to do my feet. I can smile. I'm so goofy. All right, there's Britney J. Spears. Okay, so that was enough for today. I was going to do some comments, but whatever. I can do them tomorrow or whatever. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely important from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.